I was the head of Estimation Center of Excellence at Wipro Technologies. I was based in the UK at that time. So the CEO of Wipro, Mr. Kurian, wanted to streamline the estimation processes across the entire Wipro Technologies. So it was a huge, huge task. That the vision he had in mind was, okay, I get a project A, and the way you come up with the cost should be as systematized as possible. I think I started very, very early when the information technology was still new. I post-graduated with an electronics degree and joined a small, a startup in those days. That was in the 80s, 88, I think.
What do you think stops women from achieving leadership success in their careers?
This particular concept that, after 60, somebody tells you move on, you don't move on, but create a space for yourself. So hard work and women, I think, goes hand in hand. And I think the woman she owes to herself, or she needs to give herself that happiness, the freedom to go out and do what she likes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this first episode of Fempower. I'll be interviewing women leaders from all walks of life and introducing their power to all of you who want to live a powerful leadership experience in your life. I am Rajat, and I'm the author of the book Women Beware of the Freaking Plot Hole. And if you've not already read it, please go ahead and read this book. It's available on Kindle. And leave your reviews once you've done that. With that, with a very brief introduction of me, let me introduce you to our first guest, Bharti. Bharti is a true femme power. She has over 3 decades of experience in different fields. She has chosen the unconventional track, which is so common for women to take who are mothers as well as successful women. And we are going to hear more about her as we talk to her. So, in conversation with you, Bharti, welcome to the show. And I'm so happy to have you as our first guest. How are you feeling, Bharti?
Rajat, it's truly an honor to be on the show. I am very, very motivated when you told me about the name of this show as #Fempower. Another word which caught my attention was a plot hole. And, as we go down the journey as a woman, as a mother, as a daughter, as an entrepreneur, as a corporate employee, it's full of, you need to navigate yourself. Sometimes it's more like a plot. So it all fits in, and I'm thankful for being on the show.
Thank you so much. So, Bharti, we would all love to hear about your achievements. How has your journey been till now?
Rajat, I think I started very, very early when the information technology was still new. I post graduated with an electronics degree and joined a small, a startup in those days. That was in the 80s, 88, I think, by two IITians. And they taught me the basics of computing. They also taught me how to think. So that laid the foundation. I went on to work with all the corporates, kind of flitting in between working with a corporate or working by myself as an independent entrepreneur. I found sometimes the corporate world a little suffocating. So I would come out, be an independent consultant. I've worked with the likes of Wipro, TCS, Polaris, you name it. I've worked for all of them. I enjoyed most being a consultant in the US and in the UK. And finally started something called Cornerstone Consultants. Cornerstone Consultants is a product company. It's in a niche area of estimations. Happy to say that we went on to win the Elevate grant and multiple entrepreneurship related awards. And then I co-founded a second startup called Ziyana Software, wherein we are doing a project management too. I've
Okay.
been in the entrepreneurship world for the last 6 years.
Amazing. So, Bharti, I think what I loved about your career path is the fact that you have been uh, in both the worlds. So, you've been in the structured job platform, and you've also started your own startups and experienced that. And so, can you explain a little how did it work for you? Like, why did you have to, go between the uh, two sides?
There are multiple reasons. Major being the dot-com burst. So what really happened was I was with a consulting firm, a very, very interesting consulting firm called Tanning Technology back in Hyderabad. So when this happened, there was a lot of movement of companies. They were sold and bought, and we were left in a lurch. But by then we had picked up a few skills, which was in lieu with Carnegie Mellon University. We were doing some accreditations for them, and it was possible for me to, start off an independent consultant path. So I did that. But being an independent consultant and a contractor, the kind of jobs you get are mostly some are very good, some are not so good. So you want to go back and see the large projects. So you go back to corporates, and corporates are always very happy to pick in people who are able to run by themselves. So going back to the corporate was never a problem for me. So I could always walk into TCS, Wipro, or name it. But after some time, what happens again? Finding your way in the corporate, it's like a big elephant, right? You cannot move it quickly. And so that exasperated me many a time. So I would go back, look at huge amounts of data, and come back to lead a consultant's life always, which is more challenging. Yeah.
Okay. So, Bharti, you never thought of, like, you're talking about navigating the corporate life, right? You never thought of heading a operation inside a big company. Didn't that interest you?
Um, that's something which I would like to answer. I was the head of estimation center of excellence at Wipro Technologies. I was based at the UK at that time. So the CEO of Wipro, Mr. Kurian, wanted to streamline the estimation processes across the entire Wipro Technologies. So it was a huge, huge task. The vision he had in mind was, okay, I get a project A, and the way you come up with the cost should be as systematized as possible. So that was the vision with which he took me on, and so I went on to lead. A huge team in Wipro Technologies. That was my last corporate job.
All right. And again, you left Wipro because you wanted some more challenge.
I left Wipro basically because if you look at the estimation area, as a technique or a technology, it is very difficult to, kind of, I think accounts better. It's very difficult to come to a agreement on what you initially bid versus what you spend, right? So there is a dichotomy there, and it is very difficult to get them both meet. And for me, this was a problem which always worried. I wanted to make them both meet the costing and the what you spend, because all the standards reports typically tell you that most of the projects fail in the IT industry. So this worried me, and I was really not able to find the solution. And that's the reason why I left the organization and went on to build a tool which used ML and AI to estimate tasks. So it is a bottom up estimation tool which will help you estimate better.
Interesting.
So I
So
was driven by passion,
uh,
actually. Yeah.
I love that piece about you, that you were driven by passion. So I'm sure you would have faced a lot of corporate, what we call politics. I don't know what you call it. A lot of people dislike that term. You would have faced a lot of it in your almost 25 plus years of career in corporate. How did you navigate through that? What did you ever have? Okay, let's talk about women thing. Did you ever have a lot of stress and you could not balance work life? How was it?
Work life balance was always, a challenge. But never did it cross my mind that, oh, it's too difficult and I needed to walk the extra mile. That was always there. We had to do it.
Mhm.
And never did it cross my mind that it was something which was specifically for women. It never crossed at that point in time. Maybe I was driven by something. But the point is, IT is a very taxing information technology projects. They are very, very taxing. And just to give you an example of the way we work, we would get a defect at around, I was working for Citibank India, wherein we were building the credit card systems. And there's always a end date given to the by the business, right? So you find a defect at 5:30 in the evening, and you're supposed to clear it up by end of day. So I had a one. I think he was 8 months old. So my son and my husband would wait on a motorbike till I finished the defects and come back. So that was the way we worked. And I don't know whether my son enjoyed, but I think you always navigate through all those. And that's one of the few examples I can give you. So it was, yeah, it was always there. The challenges were always, a plenty.
All right. So that's the tough part for all women, work life balance. I remember asking once to a HR of a big four that, you talk about women working and work life balance. So, but big fours are known for their long work hours. So the
That's right.
HR was like, you have to accept it. If you are in this, you have to accept it. And I think that's one thing that our children suffer a lot, isn't it?
That's right. And Rajat, to look back, we had a 6 day week. It was not a 5 day week then.
Oh my.
And if you leave at around 5 o'clock, it was basically men at that point in time. Very, I think I could count the number of women on my fingers. They would say, "Oh, you're taking half day off." So that used to be the culture then. And today, looking back, it is really different, and it is definitely nice to see it.
Actually, I'm going to ask you this later. That do you believe in this belief that people have that if you want to really achieve something, then you should be working at least 15 hours a day. But I'm going to ask you that later. For now, tell me what were the factors that contributed to your growth. And you have a family, and now your kids are grown up. But we would love to hear about how all that played out in your life.
I think the challenges which or the factors which help me, um, if I may use the word succeed, uh, is typically I think used to do a lot of hard work. Hard work and women, I think, goes hand in hand. I don't think I ever dropped a ball. When I say that, I would always be there for a meeting, well ahead of everybody. Never did I question why should I do when they are not doing it. I never ever questioned that. I used to put in that extra bit because IT, the world keeps changing. Today it's Python, tomorrow it's something else. So you need to, even though I didn't do much of programming, you need to be up, you need to know what's happening around you. And yeah, I think one of the most important things is hard work. There was one thing which I found myself capable of, which I think was very natural for me. I could abstract things very easily. So as a consultant, I could when the customer asked for a particular solution, I could provide it. It came naturally to me. So I think that was one thing which was provided, which is something which came easy, but putting it all together, packaging it, all that, it was a lot of work, I guess.
All right, and tell us a little about your family.
So it's me, my husband, and I have one son. He's a doctor. And yeah, during all the years in which I was working very hard, I used to travel out to the US very, very often. So I remember his teacher calling me and telling me that he struggles very, very hard when you travel to the US. So, that was there in the back of my mind. But I think it helped him to be what he is today. He's quite independent, I guess. He's able to make his own decisions. And I think that's something which at that moment I think I don't think I was divided, but I it did. You go through a guilt always, right? As a woman, you are guilty of leaving your home, not taking care, and you don't belong to. You're a few generations, like you belong to the 80s and the 90s, and so you did feel guilty then. But then today, looking back, you see an independent man, working, doing something for society, so you feel good. So that's about my family. Yeah.
And who took care of your son when you were away? You had family support.
I think early days, till he was around 8 years, my mom was available. I used to drop him there. My husband, he was a huge, huge support. I don't think I'd have managed any of this without him. He would, he was always there. And we didn't have these kind of structured play schools or babysitters or anything at that point in time. So the neighbors, I can count so many of them who put in that extra effort to help me out. And at some point in time, I think he was independent. So it's all this which came together. So even the society, people in the society played an important role to help you where you are today. Yeah.
This is a very good point you have. You actually started talking about society helping working women. In fact, sometime back, many years back, I had written a blog called "There is a SAHM in every home," and basically, it was about the fact that women who are working have someone at home taking care of their children. So SHM stands for Stay at Home Moms.
Yeah.
And I learned this from my corporate days that when I used to meet any leader and they would talk about their lives, they would always talk about the support system which was bringing up their children. And often, a lot of women leaders had chosen not to have children or not to get married at all. So, a lot of women today struggle with this question that once you are a mother, how do you balance work and life? And should you go to work at all? Because it's a great, like you said, there's a lot of guilt, but on top of it, the society adds a lot of onus on women to be present for their children. Even children are taught that by the larger society. You know, children will learn this from their friends that their mothers stay at home.
That's right.
So why is your mother away? How do you look at it?
The pressures are all there, Rajat. Nothing to, I don't think it is any different even today. Because when I look around, I find, when I just look around, all the women around me, and kind of do a mental check as to what are they doing. Because I'm a diehard, I wouldn't say workaholic, but I would love to work till that last breath. So that's how I see myself. So when I just look around and tag them, I find many of them are stay-at-home moms, and I wonder because now I wonder because the society is improved. Socially, we have improved, not as a society. Socially, we have improved. We have a lot more amenities. We have an infrastructure today wherein you can leave, pick up. You have help systems wherein who can come and take care of you. But this particular thing, I don't think it has ever changed, right? There is a pressure both within the family, within me as a mother, to stay and take care of my child, because I think if I stay, I can take care of him better. Even that plays an important role there. And further, yes, yeah, your near and dear ones keep saying, "Why are you taking this tough route? Stay back, take care, and then you can always go back at a different point in time." But at that point in time, a lot of things have moved ahead, and uh, your mental faculties also changed, right? So it becomes difficult to go back into the corporate world. I think that there is a status quo. There is no difference from the 90s to today, though the infrastructure has changed. But I personally, this is my personal view. I think every woman should be out there finding some work for herself. The easiest thing which will happen is the child will grow. I think me, as my mother, I don't think she ever spent quality time with me. She just told us the basics. She was not a working woman, but she had a brood of children at home, right? We were six of us. So she just taught us right and wrong, gave us our food at the right time, allowed us to go next door and play, did all that. So I think the easiest is for the child, that is that the child will grow no matter what you do, given a good amount of a basic value system. This is easier said than done, but this is how I view it. And I think we are spending too much of effort in there. And I think the woman has must she owes to herself, or she needs to give herself that happiness, the freedom to go out and do what she likes, be financially independent, and then the world is completely different.
I love that. Okay, Bharti. I'm loving whatever I'm hearing, but there are very few women who manage to do that. What you've done, that even through the childhood of your kid, you were able to manage all that and were able to, you know, overcome the guilt that you felt. And hats off to you, because this is one thing that this program, this channel is trying to address, that how do women who manage to stay at work all the time, how do they manage it? Because that's one thing that all my participants in any of my trainings have in their mind when I'm doing it, and I don't have an answer, because I myself took a back seat when my daughter started asking for it. So I'm not an example for that at all. So, and that's why you come in, right? So, what do you think stops women from achieving leadership success in their careers?
So when you talk about leadership, Rajat, uh, it is not a straight line. It's not something which is just based on merit or your talents or how you go about. To a, to a certain extent, you can reach, after which the recipe changes, right? So, for example, in TCS, I think I was Ramadurai. I was just two levels below Ramadurai, right? But Ramadurai was the CEO of the company, and what until then, yes, the amount of business you do, or the manner in which we do some accreditations, etc., certifications, the way you do that, the your communication, all these add to your leadership qualities, and you're perceived a leader, right? And but after a particular level, then it becomes I I would be careful in saying this, but I am going to say it. It becomes a little difficult for the woman to be there, because uh, one, you're not part of a large group, you're not part of a group, and mostly based on my experience, you're alone, right? You work alone. You've reached a point where you head, and the next level is completely a lot of uh, youngsters, and on the top there are a lot of men, right? So it becomes difficult to navigate, one, and it is also difficult to become it is difficult to become a part of the larger group. The second thing is your it also depends on your outlook, right? If you need to have that outlook that I am going to become the head of quality in the big one of the big fours. You need to have that outlook, or I'm going to become the partner of. So you need to be ambitious. So that's very important. If you have set your, and I want many women to set their goals like that, but because for a woman it's very, very important. Again, I'm saying that because if you've set your goal that I want to be the quality head of Wipro Technologies across the entire it's just a single post across the entire world, then you would know how to navigate it. So I'm making a point again here is, one, it's lonely, right? You're not, as a woman, we're talking about women, you're not going to be fitting amongst the other 50 groups, which are all men, right? You don't have enough leaders next to you, women leaders to look up and emulate. That's number three. Four, most of the time we lose the plot because we are not ambitious, right? We don't tell yourself, I want to be the head of the pro technologies quality head. You don't say that, because if you say that, then you're going to make a plan against it, you're going to work towards it. Yeah. So I think those are the ones which come to my mind.
Okay. So basically, you're saying that women don't plan for it to get to the top of things, and a lot of them, and I think I get where you're coming from. They don't plan, but there are women who plan, and they are also not given the opportunity. So what goes wrong there?
So I come to the main point that you need to be a part of this group, the inner group, Rajat. It's very, very important. You're not there. You're alone. So so I was just making a point that you're almost there, but I knew I would never go to the next level, right? Because of many reasons. Because you're not part of the group there at all. Yeah. So and
Oh,
that's a little
very
sad, but
brutal.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's you're using a word called brutal, but yeah, that's the way things are, I guess. And I hope it improves very soon. Because today, if you go into an IT organization, you do see 52% women. But when you look at the
Yes.
top, it's still men. It's just men and men.
Yes. So still the mindset has a long way to go to change in favor of women.
That's right.
So what advice would you give to the women who are listening to you on how to plan their career so that they have a higher chance of growing to the top?
Reaching the top, right? Fundamentally be ambitious. I think it's very important. I think everybody has said keep your finances, so I'm not going to talk about your finances, but you need to keep your finances separate. That's point two. Three, never give up your job because you have to take care of a child. I think the easiest thing which can happen is the child will grow all by itself. Give it the right values, little values, say no many times. Allow the society, allow people next door, allow your parents to take care of them or your family to take care, and the child will grow. Never ever leave your job for the sake of your child. And the child will respect you better, boy or girl, he'll respect you better as you know, I have a friend who told me this long back that, Bharati, it's okay if he carries a small grudge, but at the age of 35, 40, he'll definitely say, you told me how to be independent. This is what she told me there. And I, I, I personally think each woman should do even a small thing, she should do it with passion. And then be ambitious, move forward continuously, walk the extra mile. I think we have a long way to walk. I am sure many people will, say, why should we work very hard? But then I just gave you an example that when you look at the IT industry, 50% are women, but there is nobody at the top. So I think it's very important for us to, secretly, smartly, quietly, just like the way weeds grow, quickly walk so that in the next 10 years we are all over the place. I imagine a world where all the corporates are headed by women, and in the next 10 years, and we are there to see. With nobody should know how it all happened. We should all have a plan together and take it forward.
Amazing. So can you just repeat what were the three things? Number one was take care of your finances.
First,
Number
I said you
two,
should
be
be
ambitious.
we should be ambitious. That's the first thing,
Okay. Okay. Number
Every
one.
woman should say, I want to be this. I want to, I studied in this place. So I should be, they should look at me with, when I go back, that alma mater should say, oh, she worked with us and today she's this. And for yourself, you must be ambitious, right? That you owe to yourself. Oh,
Mhm.
yes, keep your finances separate. It's very, very important. You don't know what is in store for you. You
Yes.
really don't know. Third is, I think you should walk the extra mile, and you should walk the extra mile without screaming, saying, "Oh, you're making me walk." I always remember my mom telling me, "Be like the reed. Let nobody notice what you're doing. Just keep going, and you find all around. You'll see that you have women all over."
Oh my God. Okay, hats off to your mom. Okay, so that sounds like a great idea, but you didn't want to talk about finance, but I would take you a little deeper into that. Women, it's a known fact that even women who earn a lot don't manage their finances. Men in the family manage their finances. A lot of them don't even know how their money is being invested, and they don't have control over the finance. How did you manage your finance? Let's talk about you. How did you manage your finance? How did you ensure that that was your forte? Like your money was your thing.
Rajat, I think I must, confess that I wanted to have a joint account with my husband when I started off. And he was the one to say, no, keep your money separate and let's keep them away from each other. So that was the first thing which I, don't know whether I learned, but I took it in as a lesson, right? Going after that, I don't think we ever mixed our money together. We never mixed, right? And we had certain, I would hear him say it always that he would run the basics were his, and if there were some methods by which we shared, and I learned to invest. I uh, i I think I invest pretty well, and went on to uh, become independent. But like the point I'm trying to make is when I executed Cornerstone Analytics, while a part of it was from a grant, I was able to invest a good amount of money for the company with my own finances. So I think it is just some amount of financial discipline and bifurcation, not mixing them up and saying, I think, yeah, being independent there is very, very important. I don't know whether I answered your question.
You did, and this is something that is very very important. In fact, it is the topic of my research, which I am doing right now. And women not having control over their money is today one of the most talked about thing. In fact, a lot of people are trying to create awareness and make women conscious of the fact that they can also invest. Because I remember hearing this from women that, I don't invest because if I make a mistake, then it will become a problem. And to them, I say that, if you don't make a mistake, you will never learn how to invest. You will make a few mistakes, and that's how everyone does it. So, thanks for sharing this part, especially the part where you said your husband was the one to ask you to keep your finances separate. But I think, as women, as older women, okay, all the women don't like to be older, but yeah, we have experience behind us. We should encourage younger women to actually choose to have their finance separate, and
Very
and
true.
that's part of what the work that I do. So, Bharti, tell us what your future plans are.
So, Rajat, many things go through my mind. The top in the list is to ensure we have a product called Zimmer. And currently, it has got 4 to 5 customers. We've been working on it for the last 2 years uh, with a lot of AI and ML related features. We hope to see it really big. And so that's dream one, I guess. Uh, the second thing which keeps crossing my mind is to the age of 60, we tend to, say, okay, let's close shop.
Yeah.
Uh, I would, uh, I would, I would love to see a lot of, I'm really interested in women. A lot of women say, okay, age doesn't matter, so I need to go on and keep working. Uh, because I keep wondering, you know, the last 30 years I've learned so much of skill. I have an identity in the industry, and suddenly somebody comes and tells me you're 60, you need to move on. I don't think it's to me it doesn't sound fair, and it doesn't sound right either. So I the corporates will ask you to move on, because especially I'm interested in the IT industry. They want younger, less expensive resources. So the industry is going to say move on, but I think it is important for us to be relevant. And that is my one is to be relevant. Two is to ensure that this particular concept that after 60 somebody tells you move on, you don't move on, but create a space for yourself so that the young and the old work together to build something fantastic together. So that's the second thought which is there in my mind, and I would like to write. That's something which I would love to do and carry forward.
Amazing. So you have a plan for next 40 years.
I hope so. Yes, Rajat. Yeah.
So yeah, and so Bharti is also lives very close to where I live, and I have seen Bharti in action. She's exactly how her mother told her. You would not notice her if you didn't have to talk to her, but when you do talk to her, she is passion and courage and enthusiasm all put together in one place. And it's an honor to know you, Bharti. I mean, the first time I met you, I was like, I became your fan. So,
Rajat,
so
you
with
made
that,
my day. It's lovely. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you so much, Bharti, for this interview and talking so honestly. Um, there is one last question that I have, and this is for the younger generation. We talked about money, right? And we talked about having control of life and not giving up and not leaving their job for their children, and the children will grow up. We talked about all that. These days, one of the things our society is facing a lot, Indian society, is divorce. And I actually have started to feel that women are either married or successful. What would you want to say about that?
I'm going to take a couple of minutes and be careful with what I say, Rajat. Uh, I think there's a lot of newfound freedom. Like, on one hand, we say women are not working enough and they're not there, etc. But on the other side, we are saying there's a lot of divorces and marriages are not successful, etc. I think it is a churn which is happening in the market, in the society, and they don't sound right. On one side we are saying women are not there. On the other side we are saying that there are a lot of divorces. I personally think, because if you are at work, if you're going to be aggressive, if you're going to be ambitious, if you're going to be in the corporate world, then you may have a problem in your family life. But we are saying it's not happening. So there is something else which is also happening in the society which I'm not able to fathom, but I do understand that there is a newfound freedom. Right, there's a newfound freedom, there's a lot of information. It could also be a financial freedom. It could be knowledge, information freedom. It could be any of these, right? That's the reason why there could be a miss your family life or your marriages are not what they should be. It could be all these which are coming together. So I understand. I personally think that there is a churn in the society, and that could be leading to what we are talking about. And I'm hoping it would settle down at some point in time. So that's my take on it.
All right. I love the fact that you didn't even try to answer this question because it is quite complicated. In fact, if we knew the answer, we would have we would have solved it, right? And
Right.
so knowing that we don't know the answer, I think is the start of the solution.
Right.
And so thanks for not sharing an answer on this one. So, Bharti, with that, I want to thank you for taking time out for this. You've got a very busy schedule, I know. And I saw by the way, I went to your website and saw Zimmer, and it looks like a very interesting tool. In fact, project management ought to be one of the top tools that any business owner should go for before they start the business, even because like you said in the start, that timelines always fail. So all projects fail in terms of timeline, and uh, all of these project management systems are basically in effect then not giving the results, right? And we want those results. So, and you're so dedicated towards this fact. So I really want to root for you, and I want to wish you luck with Zimmer, and I hope you will have hundreds of customers in your site very soon. So with
Thank
that,
you,
thank
Raja.
you, Bharat.
This was a wonderful evening, and I think this gives me a lot of energy to carry forward. I wish you well, both to your book and your the discussions which you're going to have, and the hashtag Fempower. Thank you
Fempower.
very much, Fempower.